Good morning. I will wait just a second or so for some people to show up. We are here Monday morning, 11:30 for Mondays with Carlene. Thank you for showing up. I'm so excited to be here and actually giving you some vital information about your microbiome today. I am actually gonna just get right into it. People will show up as we get into this, and I do want to make sure that I tell you that if you're watching this on the replay, make sure you put replay in the comments, because when you say replay in the comments, it does actually tell me to keep this video up longer, because eventually I will take it down. But if you're here now and watching, let me know you're here. Tell me who you are, where you're from. I can't wait to actually have a bunch of people as this group grows. It will actually be more of a show instead of just a little presentation. So I'm looking forward to that. And do please invite all your friends, because this is vital information at a vital time that we need to be talking about, especially the microbiome. So please do hit me up with some emojis. It is pretty important. I know it sounds silly, but I need those hearts and I need those thumbs up, because the more that happens, the more Facebook's algorithm will show this to more people. It will show up in their timeline, which again, very important. Otherwise, we're just sitting here talking to ourselves. So give me some emojis, please. Today, we are again talking about how to boost your families and yourself, your microbiome. That's where we're going to start, because it all, actually your immunity, your autoimmune system, everything starts in your microbiome. So what is it? What is your microbiome? Where do we start? In the gut. The gut is basically your second brain. You've probably heard that over the last year or two, but it is true. There is a direct connection between your health and well-being and your brain, and everything that has to do with your brain's health, even your memory, all of that stuff is all connected to your second brain, which is your gut. Okay, so the microbiome encompasses, what is it really though? It is the environment inside of the gut. And when that is out of balance, we have problems. We have a problem with immunity being compromised. So I have a gnat flying in front of me. I'm not just swatting my face. The environment inside of your gut can absolutely be thrown out of whack. And when that happens, we then become compromised. And in this day and time, right now, with the coronavirus and all of the crazy, hectic stuff that's happening in the world, especially if you're constantly on the news and buying into all of this chaos, just know that you can protect yourself as long as you are following the rules, especially making sure that you are prepared and you're taking all the precautions. But what can you do for yourself and for your family right now, right this minute, instead of just being freaked out? Because the more we buy into the chaos and the freak out, we are, again, compromising our immune systems, because stress is one of the #1 things that will compromise your immune system. That's really important to know. The environment inside of your gut is actually your microbiome, okay? And when it gets thrown out of balance, you have so many different things that can go wrong. And it's not just an overgrowth of bad bacteria that can cause that environment to be out of balance. There's a list of things, stress being #1, like I said, but also environmental pollutants and toxins. And of course, viruses or anything that's out there, bacteria, is all going to play into that. So yes, during this time right now, we need to kind of be distancing ourselves from crowds and bars and restaurants and things like that. And that's really difficult for me to say, because I have a retail business, okay? And that means likely less and less people are coming into my retail store. But we're doing things and we're thinking outside the box to make this not such a hard hit on small business, by making curbside deliveries, free shipping, all of these different things. So hi everybody, Greg, I'm so glad you're here. Linda, Isabel, thank you guys for showing up. I'm really excited that you're all here. Thank you. Please give me those emojis. But we are absolutely doing curbside pickup. We're doing local, if at all possible, some local deliveries. If especially our older population can't get out and they need products, we're gonna take them to them. Also, free shipping. Like I said, I don't know how long that free shipping is going to last, but we will do it. So back to what all causes the gut to get out of balance: stress, environmental toxins, processed foods. You guys, I know we've basically bought up all the food in all of every single grocery store, but the processed foods that you may have bought are not going to serve you well. Okay, I know it's convenient, it's easy, it's fast, but the processed foods have so many chemicals and preservatives and things in there that actually compromise your immune system. So really, whole foods and cooking for your family is going to be the best thing. The processed foods, let's stay away from them. Prescription medications also contribute to throwing your microbiome out of balance. That really does need to be said, because there's a lot of people out there on a lot of medications, and if we can not only build up our immune system, balance that microbiome, but also bring our endocannabinoid system, which I talked about in the last video. If you haven't seen it, please go back and look at it. I will keep that video up for this, probably this entire week before it comes down, but eventually these videos do come down. So make sure that you're watching in its entirety, because I give a lot of information. And do stick around to the end of the video, because I'm going to give you an offer and also a downloadable that you can share with your friends and family. So do please make sure you stick around for that. Let's see. So not only the prescription medications, like I said, that are contributing to throwing your microbiome out of balance, but also if you're eating non-organic foods. I know that's a tough one, because it's a little more expensive to eat organic all the time, but if you pick and choose what organic foods you're eating, there's a list of the dirty dozen and all of that. You can do a quick search on Google and find out which vegetables and fruits you absolutely should buy organic, and others you can pick and choose depending on your budget. But do make sure you're getting those organic foods in there as much as possible, because the pesticides and the herbicides, they build up a toxic chemical overload. And that, again, compromises your microbiome. Your immune system then also is compromised. And guess what? If you're compromised, you likely will catch something. I'm not saying coronavirus, but it leaves you open to that. So do make sure that you try to reduce your stress. And how can you do that? By not watching the news 24/7 and getting yourself worked up, because the stress is absolutely contributing to that microbiome being out of balance. When you're freaked out and just nervous about everything, don't want to go outside, and really you should at least go outside and get some fresh air, open up all your windows, get some fresh air in your house, get that air circulation in there, and clean out your house. I mean, really just do a good deep cleaning and get some fresh air in there, because all of these little things obviously help to keep you healthy, but also that microbiome, which what we're talking about today. So again, please send me some emojis. I'm sorry if I have to keep saying this at least for a month or so about the emojis, but I need them so that this video gets in front of more people. It gets in their timeline. They'll click on it, they'll see it, and it becomes a relevant thing where Facebook says, yeah, people are watching this, they need to see it. Okay, so what happens when our microbiome is overwhelmed and stressed out? We then develop not only a compromised immune system, but then we also are susceptible to more diseases and disorders like IBS, like Crohn's disease, diverticulitis, all of bloating, cramping, pain in the gut every time you eat. If you have any kind of sensitivity to foods, you could even have an overgrowth of yeast, which we know is candida. This has also been talked about a lot, especially if you followed me for any length of time. We have talked up and down and all around about candida, because it is so invasive, and it's really because our food supply that we eat, all the food that we eat has just got so much sugar in it. Again, so if you're not eating whole foods and you're in control of what goes into that recipe, you're likely getting an overload of sugar, which feeds the bad bacteria in your gut. And that bad bacteria is yeast, it is candida, it can grow into candida, which is basically an autoimmune issue, where the candida then starts to eat away at your gut lining. And when that happens, it's called permeated gut or leaky gut. And those bad bacteria, the microbes, actually get out into your bloodstream where they do not belong. And when that happens, you then have all kinds of crazy things that can happen, a plethora of different autoimmune issues, including fibromyalgia. And I'm not going to list them all off because there are so many, including migraines and just overall joint pain, whether it's arthritis, all of these different things. It causes an inflammation, a full body systemic inflammation, which can settle wherever your body has a weakness. So that is why there are so many autoimmune issues out there, because your gut is compromised. Those bad bacteria get out into your bloodstream where it absolutely doesn't belong. Your blood should be pristine. It should have blood cells in it. That's pretty much it. So maybe some oxygen. It does need some oxygen. But other than that, I mean, it really is a pristine environment. And when you start getting bad bacteria and candida in your bloodstream, your body goes haywire. Your brain turns on and says, I have an infection. I've got something wrong. And it sends out all the histamines and everything to try to fight this off. But it doesn't really know where to go because it's systemic now. So if you can start exactly where the problem is and start first with fixing your microbiome, then you likely can cut off that beast at the head and really start to heal from the core of whatever these issues are you may be experiencing. And when you do that, you are then building up your immune system. After it's repaired and healthy, then you can start doing all the other things that actually build it up and make it stronger, fortify it so that you are completely healthy and not susceptible to every little disease or bacteria or virus that's out there. And the coronavirus is not new, you guys. There is this is the novel coronavirus. It is a strain that we're not able to fight off. But listen, I want to make this really clear for you, because when we say that there's no cure or there's no way to fight it off, the media is talking about pharmaceuticals. There's no known pharmaceutical from the pharmaceutical industry that has a synthetic antibody or whatever you want to call it, cure, vaccine, whatever it is. They don't have that developed yet, but Mother Nature is in charge here. Okay, and there's a million things that you can do to fortify, rebuild, and just make yourself as strong as possible, from starting with your microbiome and of course other things as well. I'm going to say it again, the endocannabinoid system. If you can get your endocannabinoid system and your microbiome in check and reduce oxidative stress, those three things, let's just say you can be a superhuman. Because you will be protected, and you will be, even if you did get sick, you would fight it off and you will live. You're not going to die if you're a healthy adult person. Even the children that are healthy and have a healthy microbiome and are doing these things that we're talking about in these videos, you will not necessarily succumb to the crazy predictions that you're going to die of the coronavirus, okay? Because it has been around, and yes, this is a strain that our body isn't used to, but this has been happening every single year. We have a strain of something that is flu or virus that we're not used to, that our bodies don't know how to fight it off. But again, at the end of the video, if you stick around, I'm not only going to give you the protocol that I gave from the last video that had lots of things to protect yourself, but a new downloadable PDF that will have some links in there for you to really protect yourself and protect your microbiome, because that's what we're talking about today. Now, there is something that I want to talk about. I want to hit on this again about Candida, which is so prevalent in our body. Do we need yeast and the bad bacteria? Absolutely, we need it, because it helps to break down the bad stuff that's in there. But when it grows out of control, it starts to break down the host, us, the organism, the body. That is what starts to break down when the Candida yeast gets out of control. And we don't want that unless we are actually dead and decomposing. I mean, that sounds harsh, but the Candida yeast, the bad stuff, is actually what breaks us down and brings us back to dust, right? So we don't want that to happen while we're still living. So we need our microbiome to be in balance. That means the good bacteria needs to do its job and fight off the overgrowth of bad bacteria. And how do you do that? Probiotics, number one. And you really need a good probiotic that has more than just several strains of the good bacteria, but enzymes are super important. Making sure that you are also taking in conjunction with this, with the probiotic, a magnesium, because when you start to kill it all off, when you kill off all the bad bacteria, it has to go somewhere. You really need to clean it out. And magnesium helps you to flush out your intestines, really help you get rid of all the bad bacteria. Because when the dead bacteria is just lying around in there and you've done all these other things that I said will compromise or throw your system out of balance, like the stress, the environmental pollutants, the processed food, the sugar, if you reduce all of those things, then those bad bacteria have nothing to feed on. So if you're depriving it of stress, of pollutants from bad or non-organic food or processed foods, and you're not feeding it sugar, then it has nothing else to eat to survive as you're killing it off other than its own dead self. And that sounds so totally disgusting, but that's survival of the fittest. And it happens out in the environment and inside the environment of your microbiome. So yes, those dead bacteria will eat their own dead self just to stay alive. So it is incredibly important, as disgusting as it sounds, incredibly important to flush out your digestive tract. And the best way to do that is a really good magnesium, because magnesium, not only is it responsible for 300 metabolic processes in your body, but it is very much able to move your bowels. Okay, so it can clean you out. It can clean out all that bad stuff. And you definitely want that. So are you going to likely have a bout of loose bowels or diarrhea or whatever when you're taking these products, or if you're taking a probiotic and you're taking a magnesium and your body has been overloaded? Yes, you can expect that, but no, it's normal. And it may last for several weeks until you can really get that stuff cleaned out and rebuild. Now, what happens when you take a probiotic, or a lot of it, I shouldn't say a lot of it, but if you try to go too fast, that's what I'm trying to say. If you think that, if 2 is going to work, 4 is probably better, or 6 is even better than that, you need to realize that when you kill off this bacteria in your system too fast, you can experience detox symptoms. And there's a name for it, Herxheimer, I think it's called, but it can make you feel like you're dying, like you're sick as a dog, that you have a migraine, that you are not only have diarrhea, but you're just flu-like symptoms, really. And let's not confuse that with what's going on. If you're trying to rebuild, clean it out and rebuild your microbiome, at the same time this craziness is happening out in the world, know that you're doing this purposely. You're actually cleaning it out, and in the process, you could feel sick. Okay, so take it slow. Don't go too fast, because why make yourself miserable when you don't have to? You can just go a little slower, okay? So great information to know, because everyone wants the quick answer. And the quick answer, if you go too fast, is going to absolutely make you sick, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so go slow. Remember, please send me some emojis, some hearts. I would love some hearts. It sounds so silly, but Facebook needs it so we can get this video in front of more people. Thank you again. Remember to stick around to the end. I am going to share that video, a download with you. If you have any questions, I haven't checked yet, but let me see if there's any questions, anything I'm missing. Hey, you guys, look at all these people that are here. Lindsay's here, Gail, Greg, Sharon. Hi, everyone. Awesome. Love it. Okay, and Sabrina, hi. So magnesium with any and all probiotic. Yes, Sharon. So do you want to take magnesium? Absolutely, and here's why. So not only is it going to clean out your digestive tract like we just talked about, however, because it is involved with 300 metabolic processes in your body, it is incredibly important to take magnesium every single day. And you can get it anywhere. I will give you my favorite brand at the end here. But the reason that you want to take it, besides the fact that it does all those things, is it is no longer in our food supply. And that has been happening for years, which again is, if it's involved with 300 metabolic processes, including your brain function, your heart functioning properly, your digestive tract functioning properly, even your joints and your muscles being repaired Magnesium is responsible for all that, and so many more that I can't even remember all of them. I mean, 300 metabolic processes in your body, magnesium is responsible for. We are depleted in our food supply because of big agricultural farming. When they are stripping the soil because they're farming, you know, the same piece of land over and over and over with the same crop, not even, you know, switching out the crops for different crops, basically you are depleting the soil over and over and over and not refortifying it. And you do that by, of course, rotating the crops and feeding the soil. And they don't do that. And when they do, and when they don't do the proper farming techniques, because they're all concerned about the yield, they don't care how nutritionally dense it is. They just care what the yield is, how much of it they can get, because it's all about the bottom dollar, right? So with that being said, no magnesium in our food right now. So we must fortify with it. That's really important. If you're not on a magnesium and you're experiencing issues that are foreign to you, that you don't understand the source of it, it could be a combination that you have a compromised microbiome and you don't have any magnesium or enough magnesium in your system. I have been taking magnesium and probiotics now for, I used to take them periodically, not knowing, this was like, 10 plus years ago, not knowing how incredibly important it was until I had a health crisis myself and was able to fix my microbiome, was able to get on magnesium for an extended period of time. I have not missed a single day of taking my probiotics and my magnesium in nearly 8 years. So that is astounding. I mean, that's awesome. And if I miss a day of taking it, I can feel it. I absolutely can feel it. So your body knows what it needs, and let's listen to it. Okay. So any questions? Am I missing anything here? No questions yet. Okay, good. So for the people that just joined, please let me know who you are, where you're from. Even if I already know you and I know where you're from, just put it in the comments, please. Because again, the more interaction on the comments and the emojis, the hearts, the thumbs up that you give me, Facebook will put this in front of more people. And that's really what we need right now. So thank you for joining me and helping me out getting this video out there. If you're watching this on the replay, welcome. Put replay in the comments. And also, if you want the downloadable, I'm not reaching out to you, you need to reach out to me, okay? So please put that you want it in the comments or PM me, private message me, let me know that you want it, but absolutely put it in the comments so that I can follow up with you, otherwise I have no way to follow up, okay? So, I think we may have covered everything. We're right about 25 minutes in, so if you have any questions, please hit me with your questions right now. I am pretty well versed in the microbiome and how to fix it. If you have especially any kind of gluten sensitivity, of course we know gluten is also pretty much one of those irritants for your intestinal lining. How that all works, I'm not sure if I actually did say this, but when you have the bad stuff that's in there, whether it's processed food, sugars, gluten, whatever it is, it will actually rub up or eat away that lining in your gut, which then creates little pinholes. Those pinholes are the way out of that non-sterile environment into a sterile environment. So your obviously intestines are full of the you-know-what, so the cockadoodie. And it then, if you have a permeated intestinal lining, all that gross stuff gets out into your blood. We don't need that, right? Because then it creates that systemic inflammation that causes all your other autoimmune issues. So again, I think I've pretty much wrapped that up. I've said it a couple of times. If you have any questions, or if I didn't answer a question that you have right here on the video, let me know. You can always reach out by private message and I will answer your questions. In the meantime, I'm so glad that you were here. Thank you for joining me, and I will send off that information to you guys in a private message, but you do have to let me know you want it because I won't be reaching out to you first, okay? Thank you so much, and remember, this is Mondays with Carlene, 11:30 Central Time, and I will be here next week, and I'm not exactly sure what we'll be talking about next week, but of course, it will have to do with how to keep you healthy and your family healthy. So thank you again. Thank you for joining me. Love you guys. Bye.